Thanks for tuning in to this edition of The Third Rail. Christian friendship. It's been a subject that's been on my mind. Sometimes it can be fickle, if you know what that means. And so let's talk about it just for a moment. Subjective. How do you pick a friend? Who's a friend? You're friendly with everybody. You're friends with some. Some are your best friends. Some are acquaintances. We all have our own definitions of things. Somebody recently posted this on Facebook, and I'm not sure if it's true or not. It might be. But, I don't know, just talking about friendship, I've noticed in my own life that, when I was younger, in high school, I had friends. And we used to hang out together and do things. I think that's probably common for most everybody. But as you get older, you don't have a need for as many friends. Now, I'll be honest, the friends that I have that I count as friends, I've had for decades. And they are wonderful people. Some are Christians, some are not. I think that non-Christians can have strong friendships, just like Christians can have strong friendships. I think that Christians can be friends with the unsaved as well. I think that's very possible. But there's something about Christian friendships that we need to talk about and think about for a moment, especially in the local church. It's an interesting phenomenon. Now, as a man, I'm speaking on my own experience. I don't have a lot of what I would call friends. I could probably count them on one hand. Now, I'm friendly, as I try to be friendly with everybody. But as far as having friends, that's more of a small group, very small group. And so I think men have fewer friends probably than women. Now, I want to use my wife as an example. She can't hear me, so I'm not going to get in too much trouble until she sees this. But my wife is one of the most friendliest women I've ever known. She can make friends. I'll give you an example. Several years ago when I was working for the Bible College, we were at the Sword of the Lord convention in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And I had stepped away from it. We had a display table for the college. I had stepped away for whatever reason, came back, and here's my wife chatting with a woman I've never even seen before. And I walk up, and they're talking like they've been best friends for 10 years. And they just met. And that's quite a unique story. Once we were coming back from Southern California, we stopped at a gas station to do gas station things. And my wife was coming out of the restroom, just talking it up with a woman she met in the restroom. Now, I don't know about you, but I've never come into a restroom and struck up a conversation with a strange guy that I've met in the bathroom. But, women can do that. Her and this lady came out and they were just chatting it up like they had known each other for a long time. So that's great. That's great. It's good to be that way. And I think ladies are more common to be that way than men. So what's this got to do with anything? Well, why is it, and this is the question, why is it in our local churches, you can go to a church, you can be friends or friendly with people, you can go out, you can fellowship together, you can socialize together, you can minister together. But what happens when you leave that assembly? What happens if you go across town to another assembly for a good reason? So why is it in Christian churches we have this attitude about people who leave the church and go somewhere else? An example, my wife had friends at our previous church. Because we have left that church, they don't contact her, they don't return her calls or emails. And I'm not sure why, and she's not that way either. She'll reach out to them and they don't respond. If she does reach them, they don't act the same way. Why is that? Why is it that in Christianity we have these fickle friendship relationships? I don't know. I don't know. But it's something we need to work on. Now, I'll say this, and I'll give you an example. Sometimes when people leave a church, you don't want to contact them. We met a couple, and we were friendly with them. We weren't friends, but we were friendly with them. And they left, and after 2 or 3 weeks, which, usually if a couple or somebody's gone for a week or two, you don't think about it much because people have their own life, they're on vacation or whatever. And after about 3 weeks or so, I did some asking around, found out they had left the church and went someplace else. Oh, okay. So I called him, and I got the man on the phone, and I told him who I was. And, hey, brother, how you doing? Just missed seeing you at church. The first words out of his mouth is, let me tell you why we left that place. Oh, I said, stopped him right there. Brother, I don't care why you left. It's none of my business. I just want you to know that we missed seeing you. We missed fellowshipping with you. And just want to wish you the best. He didn't want to have any of that. All he wanted to do was talk and complain about the place he just left. And wow, that's wrong. Maybe that's why Christians don't like to follow up on others. And there's probably some truth to that. But I'm going to give you one example of fickle friendship because of church attendance or changing churches. I worked on staff with a church, and one of the other young men there, we were talking about another couple that were in the church that had left the church and gone to another church in town. And so I was talking to him, and he said, yeah, he was my best friend. I go, what do you mean he was your best friend? And he stopped, and he thought, well, because they don't go to church here anymore. I go, what has that got to do with your friendship? And so we had a conversation about that. And I encouraged him. I said, you need to reach out to your friend and make contact with him and try to see if you can still get things back together. Several weeks passed, and he told me that he had done just that and had made contact. And he said, I'm so glad that I did. Thank you for talking to me about that. Why is it that Christians, now, again, I'm talking about my experience as an independent Baptist. I don't know if the Methodists have this problem, or the Lutherans, or the Episcopals, or anybody else, but in Baptist churches, it seems to be an issue. And it ought not to be, brethren. We ought to be better than that. We ought to be friendly to everybody. If somebody's left the church, moved across town serving Christ at another place for another reason, when we get together with them or talk to them or they call us or whatever, we ought to be cordial and loving and kind and just rejoice in our friendship and that we are able to serve the Lord together. So just something to think about. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. God bless.